Hey everyone, it's Devon from the Maniology team with our weekly live every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. You can find us here on another nail stamping journey. Whether it's a tutorial, technique, or hack, we're here to discuss the details and we're so happy you could join us. Also, we know you never want to miss Maniology Live, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you love our videos. Remember to share our content with your friends and feel free to leave a comment with suggestions for future content. Hi everyone! Yes, it's Devon. Oh, 9:30 a.m. in Australia. It is 1:30 p.m. here right now. Thank you for joining all the way from Australia. So today we are going to be talking about aura nails. This is a very popular nail trend that you've been seeing all over social media. It's really easy to achieve it with gel, but it can be a bit tricky with regular polish. So today we're going to talk about how to create that look with regular polish. So as you can see, I have it on my nails here, but aura nails has been super popular. I want to say it's been popular for like at least the past year, definitely this year, but also we saw it a lot last year. We saw all sorts of different color combinations, and we are going to be kind of doing a play on a color combination that I have here. So today, when we discuss this, there's going to be a lot about color theory, so understanding that is going to be very helpful for trying to recreate this look. But before we kind of get into all of that, I am going to show you guys some of the things you'll need today. So you're going to need a makeup sponge, and the type of makeup sponge you're going to look for is one like this. You see how you can't see any of the holes? Like, it's pretty tightly packed. That's the type of makeup sponge you want for this type of look. You don't want to use a sponge, like for example, a kitchen sponge that we've seen where it has like really big holes and things like that. That's not going to give you that beautiful, flawless, kind of seamless airbrush look. So any type of makeup wedge works. You can find these at like a dollar store or, Walmart. Any of those kinds of places have these things. The next item you're going to need, is a little container with water. So you can see I kind of already used my water, so it's got some stuff in it, but it's all right. So you just need a little container with water, and then the colors you want to create your ombre with. Now this is where the color theory gets a little bit into a little bit complex. So if you are new to this look and you're not really sure and you're just wanting to try it, I recommend going with two colors that are kind of in the same color family. So right here I am using Pumpkinhead B245 and also Pumps B463. So these two colors, you can see they're in the same family. The hue and the tone look similar, and then also they're close to each other on the color wheel. Pink and orange are very similar. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking for if you are new to aura nails and you want to create a beautiful radial gradient. If you're more advanced, you can play around with more color options, especially like dark color combinations. But I want to say, like, just try with a similar color combination to start, because if you do it that way, it'll be a lot easier to blend. Just going to zoom out just a little bit more. It's going to be a lot easier to blend when you're using colors that are similar to each other versus colors that are, opposite ends of the spectrum. Or even if colors are extreme differences, for example, doing a dark purple and a dark gray or light gray, that's going to require a little bit more finessing. So those are some things to kind of keep in mind. Okay, let's just jump right into it. So you want to have a clean makeup wedge, and when you use your makeup wedge, make sure to use the flat side. Here, let me explain. So if you have a makeup wedge that you know, can be reused, but it looks like this. You don't want to use that. That's going to give you a hard time. You're not going to get that seamless blend that you want. You want to make sure it's a clean cut edge, and it needs to be like flat. So if you cut it poorly, like, you know, for example, if it's like uneven or one side is higher than the other, just make sure to cut that off so that way it's nice and smooth like this. So then you're going to take your makeup wedge and you're just going to dip it in some water. And you're going to notice that when you dip it in water, the sponge doesn't really absorb too much of the water because the holes are so tight together. So you're just going to need to kind of like, I kind of squeeze it in there. So that way it helps to kind of push the water. And you can even see all these little air bubbles that are coming out. And now you can tell, look at how my sponge is expanded. So we're going to have to remove all of the excess water. So I'm just going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And doing this gives you a more seamless blend. So we're going to squeeze out the water, and you can tell because look at how puffy it is now here. So we're just going to do that so that way water shouldn't be dripping out of the sponge. It should be all, like when you squeeze it, it shouldn't have anything coming out. And it's just going to look like this. Also, if your sponge isn't in, for example, my sponges were inside like a little like Ziploc bag, so they're nice and clean. But if your sponge maybe was out and exposed to the elements, just take something like your sticky stamper station or a piece of tape and just go ahead and do this to get any little lint off of the edge of your sponge, because you don't want lint to be on your nails. It's the worst and it really ruins the effect. Yes, so make sure that the sponge is damp, squeeze out the water, and you'll notice that the sponge expands. And there shouldn't be any water left in the sponge after you squeeze it. Now you're going to go ahead and take two colors. So I'm taking my pumpkin head and pump's color. Just move this out of the way. When you do this, you can apply. For those of you who prefer to only use a little bit of polish, this technique, whoa, what am I doing here? This technique is going to require a lot of polish. So make sure that you are very generous with your polish application, because if you aren't, you're not going to have a seamless gradient. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover the entire base of my sponge. Also, polish consistency. Make sure that your polish isn't super thick and goopy. If it is, you're going to need to add like a polish thinner, so that way it kind of reduces any problems that you might get. You don't want to have too much texture when you do this design. As you can see, I kind of was testing earlier. So I'm going to go ahead after I apply my orange and just tap it out a little bit. You see all this excess orange that's coming off? We just want to tap it out just a bit, so that way it's more like this. If you have full coat coverage on the first sponge tester, then you're going to need to kind of tap it out a little bit more until it's not as full coverage. Then you're going to go in with your pink and you're going to apply a lot. Now, where you apply it, please pay attention because we are going to explain. You want to make a perfect little oval, just like that. So not many strokes, not any shape, just one line right down the center. And make sure you have a healthy amount of polish on it. So just like that. And then you're going to start to notice, you can even see it here, the polish is getting absorbed by the sponge. We want to wait until the polish kind of fully absorbs there. Now you can't see that shiny reflection. And then you're going to go back to your little workspace and tap it out again. So you see? If you have perfect. This is what we're looking for, this kind of thing. If you have too much product on the sponge, it's going to cause a problem for you later. And then you're just going to dab. When you do this, straight up and down motion. If you need to turn the nail, you can, and you can use the side of the sponge to get those side walls. But for the center, make sure it's a straight up and down motion. So let me see if I can show you this way. I'm not tilting the sponge everywhere. If I need to hit my side walls, I can use these sides of the sponge because it has that outer color, which was the orange that we used to kind of make it even. You can even do that up here. So if you need to, you can even turn it this way. And because it's, again, colors that are closely related to each other, it makes it so much easier. If you're doing this with like really bold colors, so for example, you're doing it with like, I don't know, gray and dark purple, it makes it very difficult. You're gonna have to kind of be very particular about your placement. That's gonna require a bit more technique, I guess. So this way makes it nice and easy. Look, you already can kind of see that beautiful gradient that we were trying to achieve, and it looks flawless. So now we're gonna go ahead and do that same technique again using the exact same sponge. You wanna give your layers a couple of seconds in between each application, because if you go ahead and just try to sponge on more immediately after, it's going to create a mess and you're gonna end up removing polish instead of putting on polish. So for those of you who are looking right now, you're starting to see, wait, why is she applying it in a circle motion? I'm applying it in a circle motion because I don't want to add more orange to that area. Where the pink is. Okay. So, and you can see, you see how I have like a big glob of orange polish? You can either wait till that absorbs or you can just wipe it away like how I'm doing. But because I already applied one layer of polish on top, the sponge, the surface of the sponge now has like, you know, polish in the little holes, and polish is starting to build up. So part of the reason I decided to just wipe it is to kind of help my sponge and make it a little bit easier. So again, we're just gonna apply one line right down the center. Well, I applied kind of a lot of polish there, so I'm just gonna wipe some of that away. This circle that you paint in the center will dramatically affect the shape of your radial ombre. If you paint, local people say like any kind, any kind meaning you like don't care, you just do something any old way. If you apply it any kind way, you're gonna get any kind result, which is not necessarily the result that you're looking for. So you're gonna go ahead and re-sponge this here. Look at this harsh, you see how we have this harsh circle and outline? That's not what we want. So we're just gonna keep tapping it out until we get that seamless look that we want. So there we go, we have the seamless look. Now we're just gonna go ahead and do that whole process of sponging the center of the nail again. And now we're making that pink area even a little bit brighter. When you get more comfortable creating this look, you can kind of manipulate your sponge a little bit more and move it around. But if you're new to it, I just recommend doing the straight up and down. You can kind of see that I kind of tilt my sponge a little bit if I'm trying to hit certain areas. And that's the effect. It's actually quite simple and easy to achieve. It just takes a little bit of practice and maneuvering. So if you want to intensify that pink, you can go ahead and do so by now cutting this off, because we don't need this anymore. So you can just take a pair of scissors and do a nice clean cut like this. So you can see the sponge is nice and flat. It doesn't have any weird things or uneven surfaces. And then you're just gonna take this, and you can either save it if you want for something else, because you could always use your pineapple cotton claw or cotton grabber to, whoops, hold on, to just kind of go ahead and grab it and use it for other types of things. But the reason I decided not to use this tool today is because, do you see what's happening to the sponge when I do that? You see this kind of uneven surface? This is going to make it very hard for me to do a radial gradient. So I prefer to just use the sponge directly with my hands and not use the cotton claw for this particular look. So then we're going to move this away. We're going to add a little bit more water to the sponge. Because I cut it off, now I can sense that the sponge is a bit dry. And this is way too much. We don't want that much water. Squeeze out the excess. There should be nothing coming off your sponge. So I think that's it. And then you're gonna grab your pink polish again. And draw that small circle, a perfect line right in the center. I'm not doing anything special to create this little circle either. I'm just using the brush. Now you see this little spot here, that's going to drive me crazy. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do anything about that right now, but because we are using, again, orange and pink, it's not so noticeable. So we're going to sponge it out, and then you're going to end up with something like this. And now we're just going to sponge right in the center. I'm turning it to the side so you can see I'm not really moving around with my sponge, especially for this part, because we want the pink to be nice and bold. And look at that, that looks like a really pretty flawless blend. So that's how we got our gorgeous pink and orange ombre. If you want to go ahead and add one more color like how I did here, you can, let's see, you can go ahead, and I have another one of these sponges, so I'm going to just cut it. Cut your sponge, throw away the excess if you don't need it. The sponge is already kind of damp a little bit. And then take your green. And for this part, remember, because your pink is already in the center of the nail, the line that you draw for your green is going to be even smaller if you're doing a 3-layer ombre. And again, color theory matters for this as well. The reason I'm not doing it on the sponge like how I showed you earlier with the pink, orange, and then doing the green is because orange and green make brown. So again, color theory matters because if you aren't careful, you could end up with like mush looking poo-poo colors on your nails. And I don't know if that's the theme that you want, but if you're trying to keep the colors nice and clean and you're trying to do colors that maybe aren't next to each other on the color wheel, you're gonna have to do it in layers. So I'm just, again, doing this and tapping out the excess until I get a nice soft little effect. And then we're just gonna go ahead and sponge that on. You see? With this, you want to have such a light touch, soft touch. That's what my instructor used to tell me. She used to say, Devon-chan, soft touch, soft touch. She's Japanese, so she was always harping on me. Because she said I had like a really firm touch. So you just want a soft touch like this. And then if you want, you can go ahead and do more, or you could leave it just like that. Yes, green and orange make a muddy brown. That's part of the reason why doing colors that are close to each other or similar to each other makes it a lot easier. When you start trying a lot of like extreme color combos, it gets a little bit more complex. You're gonna have to do things in layers, one step at a time, instead of just doing it all in one sponge like how we did with this one. This one was a lot easier to just achieve that full look with one motion, you know, because we could do the orange and the pink together. But if I wanted to add the green like how I did here, the orange and pink were the first layers, and then the green was like the third layer. Okay, so you all are asking for purple and gray combo. Let's see if the odds are in my favor. Sometimes things are rough on camera. So before I go into that, I'm gonna just finish out this look. And I think I'll use, because we have these cute little stars, I'm gonna recreate that with these stars. Tiana used this plate for last week's live, and it is so cute. If you don't have it, you should go out and grab it. She did a fabulous job of nail tips that she created using that plate. So it is the perfect dupe for the look that I'm creating today. I'm just gonna go ahead and reuse this so that way. Okay. Super cute. Let's see if I can like remove the glare a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you the other star. So yeah, thick gloopy polishes are not gonna be great for this technique. You're gonna need some polish thinner to fix the consistency. Or if it's a newer stamping polish, or even regular polishes work really well for this technique. You just want to make sure that your polish isn't like too thick, because if not, you're going to have problems trying to get a nice smooth gradient. And there we go. That is the look. I think it looks really cute. Okay, so if you want to see, do you guys want me to attempt the purple and gray? Do you want to see and test my stamping luck or my nail luck today? If you want to see what, yes, all right. You guys want to press it for me. So let's see if I can nail this on camera. For an upcoming Mani by me, I won't even get into it. I ended up doing this look for one of the pictorials for the insert for the Mani by me, and the two colors that I used, I didn't expect it to work out as well as it did. I like somehow was able to nail it on the first try. I don't know. It was a dark and a very light color combo, but the effect was really soft and pretty. So for this, my sponge is already wet, so we're not gonna re-wet it. But this time, since I'm using a dark color, I'm gonna go ahead and just not apply polish all over the sponge like how I did earlier. I'm going to try and get it so that way it kind of has a little hole like this. And it's because this color combination is such a stretch that it'd be good to keep that center nice and clean. So I'm gonna add a lot of polish to the center. I'm gonna extend it out a little bit. I'm just gonna extend it out just a little bit so that way we create that seamless blend. So you can see that the center of the sponge doesn't have that purple base, and you can see how much lighter the color is. That gray really shows versus when I kind of outline. Whoops. When I outlined, overlined that gray spot. Okay, so can you possibly use the round sponge that comes, okay, you can if you're doing blushing nails. Blushing nails is like a nude base with like a sheer pink on top. If you are going to try and do a multiple color gradient like how I'm doing here, that is going to be a little bit more tricky. So if you're doing that, I kind of would recommend to just play around with it and try it, test it out first before you just go ahead and do it on your nails. Okay, so far the blend is looking pretty. All right, here we go, everybody. Wish me luck. Okay, so here we go. Center, center, center. Oh, whoops. Center, center, center. Then we'll hit the edges like this, and then center, center, center. Oh my God, I did it on camera. I was like, there's a 50-50 chance that it comes out on camera perfectly or it ends up looking like a hot mess. But today the luck was on my side. I can feel the stamping juju that you all were sending me, or the nail art juju, because we slayed. Wow. I am shook right now. Yeah, I was just really hoping that that worked out on camera, because again, I was able to nail it off camera, but nailing it on camera is like such a different vibe. Yes, the live will be up after for everyone to rewatch in case you're dropping in. Don't worry, we will have this available later for you to watch. So it worked. It worked. That's amazing that it worked, because earlier before the live, I tried it and my nail art juju wasn't working, and so it didn't work. And I ended up throwing away those samples. But you all are here with me, and I promise you guys gave me the good vibes, and it came out. So that's how that worked out. That's amazing. I'm gonna be amazed for a little while now. Okay. So do we have any questions? How long did the nail tip that you used that glue? Oh, guess what? She's still on. It was on my middle finger and we're still here. It's been almost, I think it's been like 2 weeks exactly, because last week made 1 week and today makes 2. So she's still on. So for this nail, I use the sticky tab and then I put nail glue on the tip and then I squeezed the nail tip down onto the sticky tab. And we still here. I haven't had any pop-offs with this one, but granted, this is my non-dominant hand. So the other ones are attached with gel because I am really hard on my hands. I work out, I do the dishes, I clean, I cook, like all of those things. I am a normal person outside of this. I know people always think like with women with long nails, they're like, oh, she must not clean, she must not cook. No, I do it all. I do everything, but that's part of the reason why sometimes I need something a little bit stronger. But this nail has not, she's on. She's like on still. So if you haven't tried it, try it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Tiana, did we have any questions? I know, Amethyst, it is kind of surprising for me too because I go to the beach and again, I work out. It's very humid in Hawaii. The classes that I work out in, it's like a hot heated class. So I think it is, I put my nails through a lot. Oh yeah, the removal for this, that's gonna be interesting. Might have to use cuticle oil or something. Yep, I know the struggle is real with the nails, but for those of you who are curious to know more about, my nail tip application, go ahead and check out our video we did 2 weeks ago. I went really in depth on how to apply these nail tips, what to look for, how to size, all these different things. So lots and lots of great info, but Tiana said that we pretty much have everything wrapped up, so we don't have much questions or anything. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining me for today's live. I hope you had a great time. I sure did, and I'm happy I could show you something fun and new for you all to try and let you know what's trending in the nail world, because again, we want to keep you up on the latest trends. So if you want to stay up to date with us, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you can stay in the know for all the fun little things. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you a little later. Bye.